reflexes like a mongoose on amphetamines. Waving his Wilson wand. Super scintillating and sensational from Sosa. It's tennis near the gods. No mortal may approach.
Welcome back to Tennis Near the Gods. I'm Alex. I'm joined alongside my brother Nicholas. And today we're going to be recapping the three 250s that just finished today, with Daniil Medvedev taking the title in Sofia, Juan Ignacio Londero taking the title in Cordoba, and Jo-Wilfried Tsonga taking the title in Montpellier. And we will also be previewing the 500 in Rotterdam and the two 250s both in New York and in Buenos Aires. So to start off, we'll start off with our champions from this week. First off in Sofia with Daniil Medvedev, which was not a real surprise at all. He was the favorite going into that tournament, and he prevailed. He looked in convincing form.
And he's just outclassing his opponents. It seems like he's just.
I wouldn't say
outclassing
outclassing his opponents. He's just playing solid tennis.
He's playing such solid tennis that I feel like it's not even that he's necessarily playing exceptionally well.
He is playing exceptionally.
He's playing exceptionally well, but I feel like it's very sustainable.
Yeah, no, but how is he playing? So he plays he plays flat, he plays very hard, and he's consistent with it. And especially on an indoor surface, that's going to be hard to beat. Tsitsipas lost to Monfils, who would be a person that could give.
The draw definitely did open up for him because Daniel Bryan's took out Basilashvili.
But again, still, credit to him. He
lost to Monfils.
He rolled through the draw, straight sets all the way through.
Karen Khachanov lost in his first match to Matteo
Which
Berrettini.
Again, I think Karen Khachanov. I'm going to be writing an article about this soon, but the new generation of tennis players, they're not as consistent as to what we're used to with the Andy Murrays, the Djokovic's, the Nadals. Even though they got these big games, that mentally they're not the same. And you're seeing it. You're gonna see it this year with guys that make breakthroughs, but then they're gonna have tournaments where you're like, what happened? And I think that's a clear example with Khachanov losing to Matteo Berrettini in his first match.
But I don't think that will happen with Medvedev. I think he's going to have...
No, I'm saying the new generation of tennis, that will happen. They're not the same mentally. And a lot of people are crediting it to the cell phones and to lack of focus. It is, and you could see it with all the guys. They have a lot more mental lapses than the guys like Djokovic when they were coming up, like Rafael, like... You don't see many guys nowadays that are 16 years old. Nadal beat Carlos Moya, who was one in the world when he was 16.
I don't think. That's not going to happen.
It's
really, for a long time.
Again, as I said, it's a different generation, and I think that the tennis that we've been used to from Novak Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer and Murray is over in terms of dominance. You're not going to see that same sort of dominance anymore. So we're going to move on to the champion, Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. He's coming back. He got a wild card into Montpellier. And this it reestablishes him that he is definitely back in consistent form, in solid form. He's serving big, hitting big forehands. And that's really his game, just hitting big serves and finding a lot of forehands. Backhand side's the weakness, but he hits so big where he can shield it. You have to look at Pierre-Hugues Herbert, who had a great tournament, and Thomas Berdych too, who lost to Herbert. And those were the two guys that I was looking forward to make the semifinals at the beginning of the tournament. And Herbert, as I've said earlier, I think he is someone to look for this year. He's started to find his game. Before in singles, he had already been an established doubles player.
Yeah.
But now he's finally putting together the pieces in singles. He's really surging through the court well and coming in at the right times now. and really shrinking the court for the opponent.
I mean, already this year he's beaten Team, he's beaten Chung, he's finaled a 250. So
Yeah,
big things coming.
Yeah, and he's got an unbelievably big serve, a lot of different spins, and his volleys are class. So he's definitely definitely an opponent you're not gonna want to see.
And I really like Berdych. He's playing in Rotterdam. I'm pretty sure he got a wild card into Rotterdam. And I just see him coming up. He's so good. He's such a clean ball.
He's gonna return to the Thomas Berdych or around that we were used to before, prior to his injuries. So we're gonna move to Cordoba. Juan Ignacio Londero won. He was a wild card in the tournament, ranked 113th in the world.
He hadn't even won he's the highest ranked player coming into the tournament who hadn't won a match at the tour level.
Yeah, so he had never won a match at the tour level, and he goes ahead and wins 5 straight matches. Yeah. Again, the clay season in the 250 level is possibly the toughest thing to predict. You never know who's going to show up. You had Fognini bowing out in the first round against Bedene. You had
Kekinado
Schwartzman
losing to Munar.
Yeah, but that I could see that. You never know with the clay season. Is the toughest to predict, in my opinion. And you, again, who could have seen Juan Ignacio Londero coming through? No one. I mean, he scrapped his way through the tournament. He was down a set and a break in the final against Guido Pella. So that will transition into Buenos Aires. A lot of the players playing that are playing in Buenos Aires, which is one of the 250s this next week, headlined by Dominic Thiem, who always makes an appearance there, who again has to be the favorite. Dominic Thiem hunts down every single clay tournament he can find. Definitely, he's the second best clay player in the world right now. And unfortunately, that will probably say the same behind Nadal. And maybe Djokovic will probably surpass him. I think
Djokovic will surpass.
But we'll just save that for another day. But so yeah, Dominic Thiem's the clear favorite in that. You have Fabio Fognini also in the tournament. You have Diego Schwartzman.
I think Diego Schwartzman
and Kekinado, but again, Schwartzman lost to Guido Pella in the quarterfinals. He won his first match in a 3-setter. And then lost 5-2 to Guido Pella, pretty sure. So again, it's outside of Dominic Thiem in this tournament.
It seems like it's a crapshoot.
You never know. Yeah. It's hard to predict. And so we'll transition into the second 250 of the week, which is the New York Open. And this is, again, these draws are definitely weaker. You have Isner as the 1 seed who has been struggling to start off the year.
There's no real clear favorite, in my opinion.
Yeah,
in this tournament.
Anyone could win this tournament, to be honest. I say Tiafoe, but you never know.
I don't think Tiafoe will. I could see maybe even like a Ryan Harrison possibly, or
I mean, these are the tournaments where you're going to see guys like. Do you think Riley Opelka can put together a couple wins? Do you think
or Mackie McDonald?
Exactly. They're both those guys played an absolute battle in the Dallas Challenger in the semis. Mackie just lost in the finals today against Mitchell Kruger. So you never know if he's going to have some residual fatigue from that tournament. You have Bernard Tomic, who's got to pick up some points here. So again, this is a crapshoot. I'd say Francis Tiafoe is my favorite to win it, or I'd be looking at someone like John Millman. John Millman, and you cannot count out John Isner as long as he's the biggest server on the court on an indoor surface.
Especially indoors.
But again, you have big servers in here. You got Ivo Karlovic and also Riley Opelka. But I'd be remiss to say that John Isner is not a favorite to win the tournament. And then we're gonna conclude with
Rotterdam.
With Rotterdam, which is the first 500 of the season.
Headlines the tournament as the 1 seed. The 2 seed is Karen Khachanov. You've got Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Goffin, Raonic. I think Raonic could definitely pose a threat in this tournament and make a deep run, possibly even win it.
You got this draw again. 500 is going to bring out a stronger draw. I see Daniil Medvedev as a huge threat. You have Karen Khachanov, who's the 2 seed, with a possible second round matchup against Joe Wilfried Tsonga. That's a dangerous match. You have Stefanos Tsitsipas, who's also in the draw, who I think he's establishing him. He's my favorite of the next gen in terms of consistency. The guy, he backed up his performance in Australian Open, not just the Federer match, but the matches before that. He had tough wins through the second and third rounds. And he finds a way to win. He finds a way to win in matches where he's not playing his best. Mm-hmm. You have David Goffin as another seed who's struggling. Struggled last year with the when he got injured. And this year he's not quite found the same form that got him to the finals of the O2 a couple of years ago. So in this tournament, again, I'm saying Nishikori, he has a tough first round against Pierre-Hughes Herbert, but I think he gets through that. Yeah. And I think he will face off against Daniil Medvedev in the finals. I think Medvedev will be able to back up. He did not have, I'd say, the most physically rigorous tournament before. Straight sets wins. I mean, it is professional tennis. It does take a toll, but he is my favorite out of the bottom half of the draw.
I feel if Stefanos Tsitsipas is able to get hit through his first and second round matches, I think that he would beat Medvedev in that semifinal.
No, I think Medvedev matches well against Tsitsipas. He does not let the ball rise. It will skid. It will find his backhand easier, and even it will be tougher for Tsitsipas to run around and really crank his forehand because the ball is lower. These guys are professionals, but that is a tougher ball to hit. And Medvedev has had Tsitsipas' number in the past. Medvedev beat him last year
at the U.S. Open.
No, last year in Miami.
Okay.
And so I think Medvedev is my favorite to make the final. I think Nishikori ends up winning the tournament. But again, really excited to get the 500s underway to start the season. And we'll be back at it next week to recap all that had happened in New York, Buenos Aires, and Rotterdam, and we'll be previewing the 500 in Rio to come up, the 250 in Marseille, and the 250 in Delray Beach. So thank you for listening, and catch you next week.